Hi, Brad, Jack of All Adventures here. I'm up early today because I've been experiencing a little bit of phantom drain anxiety. I'm sure you've heard of range anxiety, which that's for those of us that have electric cars and get worried that we won't make it to our destination while we're driving it. Well, there's another thing that can happen, and this is a little bit self-induced and actually hasn't caused me too much stress. I've pretty much not worried about it too much, but it's been in the back of my mind. So really looking forward to finding out how it's going to play out today. What it is, I parked my car for a 9-day cruise in a parking deck with 18% battery. I guess those of you with electric cars might say, "Yeah, that's your own fault, you dumb fool," blah 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 blah. But it's going to be, the reason I actually did this is a mental error. Last spring I had some other phantom drain anxiety when I parked the car, I guess again for another cruise, at the airport up north, and I quickly noticed significant phantom drain, like 8-9% a day. And I did park it like around 35%, and it's only going to be gone for like a week. I don't remember the details exactly, but I was like, this is a big problem. It's draining 8% a day. It's not going to take long for it to be empty. Well, as soon as it got to 20%, it just shut off, didn't drain anymore, and I came back to the car with 20%. And I forgot that I found out why I did it. And the reason I lost that was when I was playing with the settings, I set up a scheduled departure. So every morning, like at 6 in the morning, it would prepare the car for departure and warm it all up and run it out of. So I used a bunch of electric every day in a cold climate to warm the car up and get it ready for me to leave. And then I didn't leave. And I completely forgot that I figured out that was the issue until I had this issue, and I looked back at one of my Facebook posts to the Tesla group and realized, oh yeah, I did figure that out. So if I would have known that, I probably would have charged it up 50-60% at least before I parked it. But knowing that fearing that it was going to drop straight to 20% anyways, because I just haven't worried about it, I guess mostly because I fixed the problem. A couple other things that led to the reason I end up doing this. Should have had it at least just a little bit above 20% anyways, but this is a very unusual situation. But supercharger was close to where we were staying before we got on our cruise here was down, temporarily down. And that would have been real convenient. I planned to charge there. I was running a little bit late, which never happens to any of us, I'm sure. And it wasn't super high priority, but I was like, I ain't gonna worry about it. I mean, once you're below 20%, it kicks out all the other unnecessary usage, and you get very little phantom drain. I should be fine. Plus, I'm parking in a warm climate. I thought that was going to be better for me. So anyways, yeah, a couple days into the cruise, I got a notification I was down to like 8%. And so then I knew it's going to be a little bit of an issue for me. For the last, I guess it's going to be like 80 some hours, I got the last notification, and it updated my Tesla app, which I was trying not to access the app and wait it out, because every time you access the app, you wake up the car, you use a little bit more energy, and so I knew I needed everything I could get, so I wasn't going to access it. Somehow it accessed itself and updated my app and said I had 3%, and as of last night, that was 72 hours ago. And then it did something weird this morning. It updated and it's only showing like 8 hours ago. which may be just because I was, I don't know, I looked at a couple of my notifications or something. I don't know, somehow that woke up the car, or tried to wake up the car, but it didn't actually update the app. But it does show that it thinks about 8 hours ago it was at 3% still. I'm pretty sure that's because it never actually woke up the car, and it's still, hopefully it's not completely dead. I guess I'm going to find that out soon. I did do a little bit to head off my issues and talk to customer service at Royal Caribbean, which I did have to push back a little bit more. First answer was no, just go away. After they called the parking deck. Fortunately for me, this is my first time ever doing a back-to-back cruise, which has been it's a pretty fun experience the last couple days. If I didn't have to worry about this phantom drain. I'd see. Looks like there's probably Miami. We're on our way. Or is that another cruise ship? I don't know. Anyway, they're going to help me find a place to park where I'm near a 110 volt outlet, and I can just plug in my 110 charger, and I'm going to be gone for another 5 days. So hopefully, if there's just a tiny bit of energy left in the car, this won't be an issue for me at all. I'll be able to just drive on to a different parking spot, which I'm kind of high in the parking deck, so I can even coast down and regen or whatever if I have to see if I can get a little bit of that to get into another parking spot, and just plug in the slow 110 charger and see what and that'll should definitely, as long as I didn't do any battery damage or anything, which the app notifications say you can create some battery damage. So that does have me a little bit worried, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Although I'm a big Tesla fan, their service department is not really the best, and getting somebody on the phone is a challenge too. Kind of wanted to get their input on this, but being at sea and difficulty using phones and everything, I did make a couple phone calls but never got a message back, which was not surprising. Their primary means of communication with them is through the app, and then they want to text message and stuff back, but I don't want to open the app because then that'll open or wake up the car and possibly use a little more battery. So when I did have the Wi-Fi and stuff, I didn't want to mess with trying to do that. Yeah. So anyways, today's going to be the big day. Going to find out if the car's going to be okay, and definitely cross my fingers. I think as long as it shuts down everything right before the end, that it possibly can. Once it gets down to like 1-2%, should be okay. I guess one other thing, I do have some concern that could be creating the issue with the car is I did have a problem with the air conditioner the day before I left, and it wasn't working at all. And but the next morning the air conditioner worked fine. Actually the whole way to the cruise port. I think it might have been overstrained the day before and wasn't able to keep up, and that's why it didn't work the day before. It worked the next day because we left fairly early in the day and it wasn't hot yet. So I'm wondering if there's air conditioner problems, that it used a lot more energy than normal to cool the batteries or keep the batteries conditioned, and which is probably a critical feature of the system. Keep the batteries at their optimum temperature so they don't hurt themselves. And if the air conditioner drew extra power to make that happen, it might have helped create the situation I'm in now. That's just one theory I have. I really don't know what's going to happen. I've never let it go down and phantom drain itself to death. And I have ran it down pretty close to zero a couple times. never below zero or never zero for very long. And just to kind of practice with range anxiety. I've had the car for 4 years and kind of just toy with it a little bit. I have, however, played with range anxiety several times while I've had the car. Never got myself serious range anxiety, but I did have experimented with it more for the fun of it. There are a lot of options you can do, and a couple other videos that I've done. Maybe I'll link those in the description too, where there's flatbed. I was pulled up a supercharger a couple months ago, and there's a Model X on a flatbed. The guy ran it down to like -5% before it quit on the highway, which I didn't even know it would read -5, but that's what he claimed it said. Anyways, had a few videos on that experience with supercharger. Plus, I've also just recently bought Ford Transit Connect van that was electric. It was new in 2011, so it's kind of a cool vehicle to own now for me. And I had no idea how much range I was going to get out of it, and we made it to level 2 charger before it actually quit. I don't think we could have made it much farther at all, which was kind of a fun ride. Playing with that range anxiety on it. Tesla was fine. We had plenty of range on it. Teslas really do. If you run out of battery on a Tesla, I'm not going to say it's your own fault, but there's really a lot of things you can do to keep that from happening. There are situations where it would be much nicer to have more charging options and stuff like that, but with just a little bit of planning in a Tesla, you're fine. At this point in 2022, the charging network for Tesla is still far superior to anything else, and other electric cars will probably eventually, when there's charging stations all over, these things will be much less of an issue, much easier to overcome. But from that, anyways, I'll link descriptions to. I did a previous video as soon as I found out that I had the phantom drain issue. I'll link that in the description, and also I'm sure I'm gonna have a few more videos throughout the day on what happens once I check out the car. I mentioned kind of with Royal Caribbean, they kind of turned me away at first, but once I pressed the issue second time, showed them my car was dying faster than expected, and I really needed a 110 outlet. They are accommodating me, so they're gonna have somebody meet me at the port and actually help me get the car plugged in. So we'll see how that goes. So please look in the description, find a link to that video, and check it out once it happens. All right, Brad out for now. Please like and subscribe as I'm slowly growing this channel. We have Miami out on the horizon, so just a few more hours of this phantom range anxiety, phantom drain anxiety. I don't know if I've heard that from anybody else. I'm going to coin that as my